Entertainment news today. It's such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight Edge after dark is life. It's nerds and geeks, we will survive.
We're gonna totally survive.
From Star Wars to Jurassic Park,
except for Dominion
it's
and Rebirth.
Midnight Edge after dark.
We're gonna talk some shit tonight. You know it's alright. Yeah, it's the remix.
All those bombs and flops, but need never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight Edge after dark is light. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight Edge after dark.
Greetings, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's a whole new month. That's right. It is now that official month where we go from summer to fall. We transition. So would this be Trans Month, CC, of Canada?
You know what? It's overcast here. Usually in the summer up here, like when the west coast of Canada, it's just like endless sun, which also means forest fires and all the rest of it. But today it's like it's overcast. It feels like fall. I don't know.
I'm almost kidding, mainly because like you get a lot of shit when you talk about movies that come out in August and they're like, well, that's technically like it's really not summer anymore because kids are going back to school. It's like, yeah, but it's still summer until Labor Day. It's summer.
Yeah, no, it doesn't get cold in August. It's not a thing.
Especially down south, like September and August are like some of the hottest months, aren't they? Like, yeah, is my understanding. Anyhow, speaking of South, my Southern brethren, Mr. Neek Weiser is here. How you doing, Neek?
Doing pretty good. I got the oven heating up. Gonna have some calzone tonight for dinner. How are you?
I like calzones. I like pizza.
Dude. Oh, I love pizza so much.
And I like lasagna. They're like all in the same family.
Oh, I love those foods.
And then you add breadsticks. They're like the little baby. You know, like a family. And you can throw in spaghetti as a cousin.
Oh, dude, I love spaghetti. My youngest she's a huge fan of spaghetti. Like for her birthday a few weeks ago, she just can we order like a family size tray of spaghetti? I'm like, of course we can.
Then there's chicken parmesan, which is like that bougie uncle.
Oh, dude, I love chicken parm. I used to work at this pizzeria where a few of the boys and I would just eat chicken parm all the time. It was great.
And that is my stand-up bit for food, kids. That's the best you're going to get there. We got some super chats to kick things off. Super chats from SFX314 Sabertooth Raptor in the house, sending in 5 smackaroos. Says they need to stop rebooting, remaking, and too many sequels. They're like, what came before? Shatner is the only TJ Hooker and Kirk. I agree. Yes, this is blasphemy. Blasphemy. You know, I actually played TJ Hooker in a movie with Eddie Murphy once. Nobody remembers it. Well, I kind of played myself, teaching Eddie Murphy how to be TJ Hooker. Does anybody remember the name of the movie? Priceline.com.
Funny.
No, the name of the movie isn't Priceline.com, but as many times as I say it, I get paid more, so Priceline.com.
Too good.
The name of the movie...
Trivia? Because I have no idea.
It was Showtime.
Oh.
With Robert De Niro and Eddie Murphy. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody remembers. That's right.
I do not remember. I just know that I exist.
Yeah, he kept calling him TJ Hooker in the movie. Parts of the movie.
Funny.
But anyhow, you guys don't remember Showtime with Robert De Niro and Eddie Murphy?
I have not seen it in a long time.
It was kind of one of his better films in the low period of Eddie's career. But yeah, he plays like an actor who wants to be part of a reality show, and if I remember right, Robert De Niro's a real cop, and so they team him up, and then to teach Eddie to be a cop and to teach Robert to be better on TV, they bring in William Shatner to coach them. It's actually pretty funny. But anyhow, most people don't remember that movie. But yeah, thank you, Sabretooth Raptor. And we're going to talk about that. And then Goddess of Whim, sending in some love for Clobbering Times. Yes, we miss him.
Cool.
And then Soul Nightmare says, as someone who doesn't even like Punisher, his special presentation look is just stupid. Like he just came out of an episode of Jersey Shore. Well, I think he's going to have a similar look in Spider-Man. So we'll see. But we'll talk maybe a little bit about that.
Wish for white gloves. One time. Just one time. White gloves and white boots for the Punisher.
The day and age for that would probably have been Lundgren, and they fucked that up. That was the one thing they really fucked up in that movie. And I know a lot of people are like, what? No, seriously, they did.
I would love, dude, that would have redeemed a lot for me if they had the white boots. Yeah, I was like, okay, you didn't have the skull. But dude, hey, at least we got a naked Dolph Lundgren hanging out in the sewer.
Can you see my Balzac? My Balzac's gonna crush crime.
If anything, he was setting
teabag crime.
He was setting himself up for Showdown Little Tokyo with that movie. If you think about it, retrospect, he got naked for that movie.
I've ever saw in a man. That's right, because I'm the Punisher. I punish pussy too.
Oh damn! Ooh. Oh, I love this show.
Brigitte Nielsen punished it.
Punished it. I see what you did there. Oh.
After I was done, she's like, "Is that all?" I was like, "If it dies, it dies."
Oh my God.
I punished Grace Jones's pussy as well. That's right. Sly watched that.
And Brandon Lee most definitely watched.
I never seen so much sweating all my life. It was like when I was fighting Apollo Creed, only it was two tall people. Goddess of Whim sends in another $5. Says, hey, are you guys aware that TMNT live action is coming to theaters August 15th through 20th? Yes, I am very aware. In fact, I've been scoping out the dates to decide when my best time to sneak out and go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles remastered in 4K live through Fathom Events, where they will be having a little behind the scenes little thing to go with it. Oh, as far as I know, though, it's not the director's cut, sadly, but yes, I am looking forward to that. I don't know if Nick is aware of this or if they're even doing it in Canada. But
the kids, if I could take the kids to go see it, I most definitely will. So that's what I'm hoping to. I think there's a theater in Barrington, the one where I traveled out to see Superman, that is doing a screening. So I'm going to try to do that one with them next Friday night. That's a nice theater. And they actually, both my kids love the original TMNT movie. So if I say, hey, kids, let's go see the first Ninja Turtles movie, but in the theater, they'll go. They'll most definitely go.
They'll say, bodacious!
Oh, yeah.
Rock and roll!
No, I'm glad I have children who genuinely love the Turtles, especially my oldest. She really loves them. She was actually...
Then you have pizza afterwards?
Oh, God, yeah. Actually, she was showing me some pages earlier this morning. She has a series of the comic for the 2012 show, and she said, "Oh, look at the pizza that Michelangelo is having." I was just like, "Yeah, it's a lot of pizza."
Bossa Nova, Shabby Nova. Yeah, that's going to be the sad part going to see this movie, and it's going to be me and about a dozen other nerds just quoting every fucking line.
That's going to be the best. You kidding me? I wish we were at the same screening. We'd be doing it
I know, and I'm kind of thinking that I was trying to coordinate, but I'm like, shit, those are all done the week before. But you know, you and I need to figure something out at some point to maybe go out to that that TMNT pizza place.
Oh yeah,
is it officially sanctioned? Because I know very little about it, but I saw people tagging me in it. And,
I would.
Yeah, if it's officially
down.
sanctioned, we definitely need to make that a thing.
Agreed.
But anyhow, let's get into the actual stories we have for today. In fact, they were brought up already in one form or another about TJ Hooker. Let's start there. Oh, we got one more from D-Bud. Let's get this first. It says, we always miss Clobby in August as both he and Jack Kirby were born this month. That's true. That's true. Happy birthday to Clobby. Yeah. We miss him. But we got, where should we start with this? Do we want to start with, since we keep bringing it up, let's bring up TJ Hooker first. Fuck it.
Sure.
All right.
Netflix evidently collars William Shatner cop series TJ Hooker for a live action comedy movie. So they're probably doing like the Starsky and Hutch 21 Jump Street kind of thing to it. It's my guess. So this is an exclusive for Deadline, hot on the trail of a strong weekend opening of Naked Gun, the 80s prime time procedural. TJ Hooker will be the next procedural in line for promotion to an action comedy movie. Netflix has collared screen rights to the venerable cop drama, and Jared Paul and Andy Mogul tapped to write the film, and will be produced by Sophie Cassidy and Matt Crespi for 2.0 Entertainment and a bunch more names, blah, 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 for Prime Universe Films and some other shit. The original series was in 82 on ABC. It ended after 5 seasons and 91 episodes. It also starred TJ Hooker, or William Shatner's TJ Hooker, I should say, and Heather Locklear, if you can maybe recall. So they're claiming it's going to be a comedy style. I highly doubt that Shatner's going to have anything to do with it unless they pull him in for some kind of cameo, which is a plausibility. But I wonder what Shatner's reaction to this is. I don't know, because he's got me blocked. So has he reacted to this? Anybody know?
I can look it up.
Yeah,
not
please
that
do.
I know of. I
so
have
Nick, you're a little younger, so I don't even know if you remember TJ Hooker.
No, this was before my time. I had heard of it, but I never like actually taken the time to watch it. All I knew is that it was called TJ Hooker, and I think William Shatner was in it, and that's an I think he was in it.
No, William Shatner, this was the thing that, like, honestly, as a little kid, my first exposure to him was TJ Hooker. So even before, I mean, yeah, Star Trek was always kind of in the, whatever you want to call it. But when I was born and growing up, Star Trek was cool, but it was still considered a nerdy thing. I remember the Star Trek reruns becoming a thing more so after like Wrath of Khan, and obviously Star Trek 4 became big in theaters. And that's when I remember Star Trek becoming cool again, or at least being cool in the 80s. So probably circa 86, about the time this show ended, right? So like, that's the thing. So for me growing up, it was TJ Hooker. Then he became Captain Kirk again, even though obviously I was able to, figure that out in my head growing up, that clearly he was Kirk first. But then in the 90s, you had him on Rescue 911. You know what I mean? Like, so Shatner always managed to creep his way into the pop culture some way, somehow, outside of Star Trek. And this was one of those ways. And then later on, of course, he had, what was it? The show with James Spader, Boston Legal. Yeah.
That I watched. I never actually watched TJ Hooker. Now maybe I should. But post Star Trek Shatner for me was Boston Legal. I guess I'm a few years younger than you, not too much younger, but maybe just
not
enough.
much. But I mean, you may be old enough to remember TJ Hooker, but
yeah, I'm aware of the show. I just never, like, it's been on my backlog for years and years and years. But I actually, by the same measure, I never really thought about that, how it was airing at the same time that the Star Trek movies came back.
Yeah, I mean, the 80s, he was hot. Like, I mean, between doing the Star Trek movies and then bouncing between that and TJ Hooker, which went, as you saw there, for like, what, 5 seasons almost? 4 seasons? 81 to 86, I think it said. 82
Yeah,
to
and
86,
Star Trek
was.
4 was 1984, I believe it was. Wasn't it?
Sure, that was an 86?
Maybe Star Trek 3 was 84.
I think 84 was Star Trek 3.
Yeah. Sorry.
But no, either way, like, yeah, so he probably did those in the in the off season. But no, and I remember Star Trek 4 took off because if I remember right, that one did some of the best box office besides Part 2, and obviously it was more popular in some cases than Part 2 for years. I know people don't like to believe that, but it's true. For years, Part 4 was the one most people liked.
It's a family film by comparison.
I always like to call it the gateway Star Trek film because it's a really good one to get somebody to watch who is aware of Star Trek, but you don't have to know all the characters or know all the ins and outs, and it picks up in a place where, sure, it helps to have probably seen Star Trek 2 and 3, but you don't necessarily have to. Because you can kind of look at it as just kind of a straight comedy about some people from the future who need a whale. So they come to the present day, and it's just about them being a fish out of water. You know what I mean? Like that works on its own, like a Galaxy Quest kind of movie where it doesn't necessarily attach itself to Star Trek, although it is. But anyhow, that being said, that's not neither here nor there. I'm not surprised they're doing this as kind of like a Naked Gun type thing. I wonder if there is any other real way you could do this seriously now. Because, I mean, he was even tongue-in-cheek when it was on TV initially. I mean, no, it wasn't a comedy, but it had its corny elements to it, I guess you could say.
Saying that I haven't watched the show, right? So therefore I can't speak to the nature of the show. I'll take your word for it on that. I guess what's been crossing my mind
it was a lot
lately,
like Chips and all that kind of shit of the era, if that makes sense.
If comedy is going to come back, and it's not just going to come back like a punch to your face in all the most offensive ways possible, it needs to kind of walk before it runs, needs to crawl before it walks. And this kind of stuff like Happy Gilmore 2 or The Naked Gun or the way you're describing TJ Hooker, they're probably really good entry points for comedy to just kind of start to come back. That makes sense?
Well, you know what?
You know,
other people Caleb brought up Dukes of Hazzard. You know, I remember when they redid that one and they made it more of a comedy. That's the kind of thing with TJ Hooker. It's kind of like a mix between like Dukes of Hazzard and kind of that kind of goofiness mixed with the typical procedural cop drama. So, I mean, yeah, it probably does lend itself to a satirical kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of jokes about Heather Locklear, or at least his sidekick. Whoever they end up getting. Maybe they can get Sydney Sweeney.
I would love to see Shatner in this. That would sell it enough for me to be a little bit more
at least a cameo if he's on board with it. Has he said anything?
I just say that because he's clearly still. He doesn't look like he's in his mid 90s. You know what I mean? Like he could
but they wouldn't have him play Hooker,
but he may feel it.
Maybe, I don't know. He's quipped about that in interviews, but like he looks 10 or 20. He looks 20 years younger than he is, right? So he's maybe not going to play TJ Hooker, but he could still have a role in the movie. That would be nice.
I wonder who he would play though, or who would play TJ Hooker. I guess is what I'm asking.
I mean, if I'm just off the top of my head, I would have him be a retired member of the force in that particular precinct. Somebody who is, or
TJ Hooker's great grandfather, even like lending like a Shaft kind of thing to it, maybe.
Something where it's more than 5 seconds. He's actually a character in the movie. He's clearly still capable because he got a new TV series lately. I can't remember the name of it, but I saw he's something about mysteries or something. He's hosting a new show, right? So he's not done. He's not himself retired. So he could, could say a few lines, have a few minutes of screen time. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could work.
But again, I don't. Much as I'm not huge on this just everything is a remake and everything is a sequel. I'm not going to shit on us getting back to comedy, and TJ Hooker, at least to the degree by which I know it, it's giving me more of that kind of Naked Gun or Happy Gilmore 2 kind of vibe, we're going after comedies that they're not going to be woke. They don't have to get into politics. It's soft humor. It can still be dumb humor, particularly if it's well written.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go full-fledged Naked Gun. I'd lean more into like the 21 Jump Street, Starsky and Hutch, Dukes of Hazzard kind of thing.
But again, and honestly, I'll take that right now.
If Chris Pine's not busy, just get Chris Pine again. No, just kidding. He could play Shatner again. No, that or I could see, you know, I really could see playing in this. It's Chris Pratt. Oh, God, don't even say that, Dr. Sleep. You probably just fucking jinxed it. They would cast Seth Rogen.
I thought he was going to say Pedro Pascal.
No, Pedro, no, he's too straight. You need somebody with like...
They would have him gay it up.
Gay. You need somebody with that kind of like twinkle in his eye like Shatner, though. And that's where I said Pratt. Yeah, or Chris Pine would even still work because he still has that twinkle. Or even what's his face who was in Fall Guy and Barbie. Jake Gyllenhaal? No. Wait. No, Jake Gyllenhaal's the other one. What the hell's his name? Somebody help me out here. Jesus, I'm having a...
In what now?
In Barbie and in Fall Guy. Who was that in that? Ryan Gosling. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I couldn't remember his damn name.
I was overthinking that. You're talking about Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I know, Ryan
Gosling the whole time.
He'd be all right. But I mean, I don't know if I'd put him in it simply because of Fall Guy. He already did Fall Guy, and Fall Guy didn't work. Yeah, I know. It's too straight. I meant as in, people are making fun of me for saying that. Yeah, thank you, Goddess. That's a first. I know, right? Oh, shit. And then Action Com asks, a Rockford Files remake when? Yeah, see, that one could kind of lend itself to more comedy. And too bad, like, Josh Brolin wasn't a little younger. He'd been perfect for something like that, maybe. But, yeah. I don't know. See, like, I would say, like, somebody like a Ryan Reynolds could do this, but then again, he almost is too big for the role. And then Action Com says, another feature of TJ Hooker was William Shatner wielding the nightstick. That's right. Around like he was some sort of expert. It was actually hilarious. Yes, he always would get in a one-to-one combat fight like he would in Star Trek. That's right. Now I'm getting like visions and memories of the show. Gonzalo Regali says, when you sanctioned, you mean Nickelodeon or Eastman Laird sanctioned? Oh, I think he was talking about Ninja Turtles there. And then he's also been a member for 40 months. So we'll come back around to that Ninja Turtle one. But yes, so TJ Hooker, any final thoughts on TJ Hooker before we move on to other things?
I got nothing.
Yes, indeed. Yes, so yeah, that was so when we say sanctioned, do you mean Nickelodeon or Eastman sanctioned? And like, as far as I know, it's just Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers owns the rights to it, if that's what you mean. The movie itself, anyway. But yeah, and then it would be interesting to see a Rockford Files remake. I could see that. But yeah, that could be fun. But speaking of spin-offs and remakes, we got another story that kind of bleeds into another, because like we're getting a lot of Spider-Man news this week, because they're shooting the new Spider-Man movie, and now it sounds like over at Sony they're developing a SpiderPunk animated feature with Daniel Kaluuya and Ajon Singh in development. So this is a SpiderPunk character. So tell me about SpiderPunk.
Didn't come until the SpiderVerse storyline of the mid-2010s, which is when they took the multiverse concept way too far. What they do is they brought in every multiversal version of Spider-Man ever and introduced a few in the process. Now, sure, I'll admit I'm the first one to like the look of the character, but knowing some of the books and miniseries that came out that followed it later, it was leftist propaganda, to really just sum it up very quickly and discreetly. He was in, I think, the second Spider-Verse movie, Across the Spider-Verse. Now, I didn't see that movie, but I think he's in that movie. So, yeah, I have no idea who these guys are. I don't know if they're good. To me, this is just the concept of the multiverse gone too far, and this is Sony. Once again, they realize their live action cinematic universe isn't going to happen, so why not just put out different versions of these movies? And there's a reason why they're doing this as an anime movie. They know they can't put this as a live movie, concerned that they are working on brand new data as well. This needs to be an anime movie to avoid any further confusion.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of cashing in on the Spider-Verse stuff. Go ahead, Cece.
I just say you lost my interest when you said 2010s. It's like,
I get the Spider-Verse stuff anyway.
Yeah, okay. It's probably a good sign of where this is going.
Yeah, I was one of those guys where as far as the multiverse, I wasn't initially as opposed to it, but then when that happened, that's when I started like getting really weary of it. Now, do I have my versions I like for it? I guess you could say as the exception, sure. But one of them you can make an argument technically isn't. Obviously, as far as one that actually is multiverse, is Spider-Man Noir, because Marvel was doing a bunch of miniseries at the time. Oh, hey, here are noir takes on the characters. They had a Spider-Man Noir, Iron Man Noir. I think they had a Daredevil Noir and an X-Men one. It was like 4 or 5 books. And of course, the Spider-Man one was naturally my favorite, and he was well executed in the video game Shattered Dimensions as well. So that was obviously one that was also one that people seem to like as well. So, once again, market speaks. And then I like the 2099 Miguel O'Hara version, but I don't really technically consider that the multiverse because it's in the same universe. It's just 70, 80 years set in the future in the same universe. But people still consider multiverse for some odd reason. But Miguel O'Hara had his own, his own powers. He had his own lingo. He had his own supporting cast. He had some villains that were parallels to villains that came before while having his own villain. And obviously, it helped a talented writer, Peter David, whom obviously passed away a month or two ago. Rest in peace, Peter David. And he had a great ongoing series, not just a series, but an ongoing series. And they even brought him back in the early 2010s to do another, and fans like that one as well. But yeah, if they were going to do an anime movie, it should have been Spider-Man 2099. Honestly, I would have gotten excited for that. But Spider-Punk with a bunch of nobodies, I can't wait to not see it.
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in it. But it's no secret that I'm not a fan of the Spider-Verse crap anyway, so. Yeah, good for those who are looking forward to something like this. It sounds like he was a character, obviously, in Spider-Verse 2, which is probably what this is going to spin off of, alongside Spider-Verse 3, if they ever get it done.
I think it's, 27? They finally locked a date down for June of 27, yeah.
And yeah, I can't think of any other reason that they're stalling on it other than they were trying to work out a better deal with Disney or something because, yeah, last I knew, I mean, the movies did okay at the box office, but they didn't make all that much money at the box office, and all the money was in the merchandising, which all went to Disney.
So, all for the MCU Spider-Man?
No, for Spider-Verse stuff, because they
I thought the second one did really well. I thought the second one did okay. Really well.
Yeah, it did better than the first movie, but I think it cost a little bit more. But here's the thing, and there was a ton of articles about this, and I was one of the first people to bring this up, was that basically all these Spider-Verse movies are nothing more than expensive commercials for Disney toys. Because outside of the MCU version of Tom Holland's Spider-Man right now, that's the only version that they share any toy rights to, and that was a deal to sweeten up the Spider-Man deal on Marvel's side, because back in the day, Sony forfeited merchandising rights back to Marvel to hang on to the Spider-Man rights for a little bit longer when they were trying to get Amazing Spider-Man off the ground. And ever since then, Marvel has 100% toy rights to Spider-Man, except for Tom Holland's Spider-Man because of the deal they made. So all these Spider-Verse figures that have been being sold by Marvel, Disney's reaping all the benefits of that. So yeah, the movies did okay at the box office, but they did like $1 billion and I think almost $2 billion in sales for the second one, to where all that money went right back into Disney's coffers. So the word going around was that Tom Rothman was pissed, and that story came out and was basically confirmed down the road that was the case. So I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, the only reason they're kind of sitting on this And this is why I had posited there might have been a deal being worked about in the background that either didn't happen or I was just speculating for speculating's worth, I guess, because at that point it was like, it almost makes sense for Sony to just sell back Spider-Man to Marvel and then just retain some kind of like residual rights for the next few years on the SpiderVerse films, because they're not really seeing all that much return on anything outside of the MCU films. And even then they still got to split the money with Marvel, not 50-50, but it's still like a split, right? So yeah, frankly, this whole thing to me is like, it's kind of a no-win scenario for both parties, no matter what they do. Because if Sony has a successful franchise like Spider-Verse, what good does it do them? Because they don't get to benefit from the fucking merchandising, which is the bigger piece of the pie here, which is something we've always talked about, which is something a lot of people ignore, especially when it comes to conversations like Marvel versus Superman right now, for instance, and Superman versus the Snyderverse, where I'm sure the one thing nobody's talking about, and that is, I guarantee you, Superman is selling a hell of a lot more toys for this movie than they ever did for Man of Steel or BVS, but that's neither here nor there when it comes to Marvel, but because Marvel, Spider-Man is the topmost of the popmost, right? He's the king of the mountain. He even beats Batman in sales most times. So that being said, like, that's a big deal, and I can't believe they haven't worked something out in the interim since then, but I guess they got a pretty good deal for the MCU side of things, but that's a different story. But we'll see how this turns out. They got a lot of the spin-offs. We got the
Noir
Nicolas
as
Cage
well
series, and
I actually want to see that just because of Nick Cage.
I know they were going to do a Spider-Gwen thing, but I guess that fell apart.
For the best.
I was just going to say, I fell apart in quotations. Like, I'm sure they're like, all this girl boss stuff is failing right now. Kill the Spider-Gwen
Probably.
stuff.
It's unfortunate because I know as far as female characters, which they've done way too many of, but I really do like Jessica Drew. She's the Spider-Woman, in my opinion. I know some people at the 90s like, what about Mayday Parker of the MCT universe? I mean, yeah, she's cool. It's a universe where Peter and MJ have a daughter named May Parker. Yes, it's fitting. I get it. But Jessica Drew is just so much cooler. So much cooler. But obviously, they have beaten the horse with having 800 different Spider-Women. Now they've ruined the agency and uniqueness of Jessica Drew. And that sucks because she's a great character.
All right, well, with that, let's move on. We got FKHC 2005 sending in $2 to send some love for Clobbering Times. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. We had one more story here I wanted to touch upon, at least, unless there's something else you guys wanted to get into. Do you guys remember when Matt Smith was meant to be in Rise of Palpatine?
I do.
Well, it looks like he might just actually make his way to the Star Wars universe finally, as he's been enlisted as a villain in the, speaking of Ryan Gosling, a guy I couldn't remember his name earlier, Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy Starfighter movie. So there you go. So this is one I actually think is going to happen because I think it's pretty far along. They're actually doing some casting now. It seems like it actually had a solid basis. I don't know how good it is. Don't take that as saying, I think it's going to be good. I just mean I think they had a solid idea going into it, and that's why it's probably going to be one of the next Star Wars films. But I mean, you could do worse, I guess, than picking this guy as a bad guy. But is there even any interest in this? Does anybody give a shit about a Ryan Gosling-led Star Wars film where Matt Smith is a bad guy? I guess I have to ask that question. CC, are you even interested still, or do you care?
I mean, I started getting into the Rogue Squadron novels, and I know that storyline has a very dedicated fan base, and having started to get into the novels, I can see why. Because they're actually really well written. The dialogue in particular really surprised me. Now, I see Star Wars Starfighter. It gives me a notion. Maybe they're thinking of going down that line, but Jon Favreau was thinking about going down that line before everything got screwed up. So, I mean, I'll keep an eye on it. As somebody who loves what Star Wars was, I'll keep an eye on it. And I think maybe, if nothing else, it's it's maybe a reasonably safe thing that it's not theoretically it's not attached to all the bullshit. Maybe they can actually just make a good,
just a standalone Star Wars story. Yeah.
Yeah, some space fights and some actual
Star Wars in our Star Wars.
Yeah, maybe there's an opportunity here to do that, but I haven't heard enough about this movie. When you brought it up onto the screen, I was like, "What is this actually happening?" Because nothing else is happening. Every other Star Wars movie has not yet happened. So I mean, it's kind of like When Pigs Fly, right?
Yeah, no, this is just fresh off the press. Came up 3:00 East Pacific. It looks like, so not that long ago. So this is fairly new news. But yeah, so Nick, what's your reaction to this? Do you even care?
I still stand by what I said about anything with current Star Wars a few months ago. I don't care. That's it. That's literally it. I don't care.
Let me translate that, basically.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, that's obvious.
I'll tell you what I would want from Star Wars right now. I want something that has absolutely zero connection to any of Disney's quote unquote canon. I am firmly my mental state on this is firmly in the camp that the term legends is derogatory, and they want us to use it to diminish what is actually Star Wars canon.
I have a greater chance of never eating pizza again.
Yeah. So the more that this movie, if it actually gets filmed and reaches the screen, the more this film does not attach itself to anything and just stands on its own, the more it can just be its own canon. The moment it starts attaching itself to Disney storylines, it just gets complicated, and I don't want anything to do with it. If it stands completely on its own, then it's not Disney. It's not actual Star Wars canon. It's not the expanded universe. It can just be its own thing, and if it's good, it's good. That's where I would stand.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the one thing it has going for it. I can agree with that. Is that as long as it doesn't have a Palpatine or a Rey connection or some connection to the other Star Wars shit, it's just a standalone story. Yeah, I think it'll work. I think you're right. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate into box office business. That's another story altogether.
No, I mean, like, was it when Firefly is a great show, right? And the movie that followed, I use this as an example because that trailer for the Firefly movie, Serenity, I think it's still one of the worst trailers ever made. It's just an absolutely god awful trailer, and that movie made $20 million at the box office. Star Wars may not be popular right now, but if you put out an awesome trailer and it's disconnected and it gets good word of mouth of just being a good standalone movie with a great trailer, I mean, I'm not suggesting it would do $1 billion. It might do a few $100 million, right? Just also because we don't get a lot of movies like that. One thing I'll give to Starfighter is it doesn't have a whole lot of similar movies to contend with, right? It would actually stand on its own from a genre perspective. But no, I don't see it making $1 billion. I better keep that budget in check, at best, I can't imagine it would be doing better than $500-600 million with good.
Oh God, yeah, that's even asking a lot, right? Probably.
Yeah, it's probably more like 300-400, right?
If that, yeah. And then ActionCom unless there was anything else to say about Star Wars, because I don't think there is much, because we don't know much yet. Gentlemen, no. All right, ActionCom says, "What's this I hear about Mel Gibson splitting his Passion of the Christ sequel into 2 movies?" Actually, I'm surprised you don't remember this, ActionCom. I remember us having this very conversation, 6 months ago, a year ago, when this was being talked about and tossed about again, where he had said that the story was so big he might have to split it up into 2 parts. So I'm not surprised by this. I think it was when we were talking about Lethal Weapon, because he said that Lethal Weapon 5 was not on his radar until after he got Passion of the Christ done, and that's when I think he was talking about it might be 2 movies. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, I guess that's being confirmed now, or it's one of the new stories that's out there. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. I don't know how interested you guys are in that, but Yeah, it sounds like Passion of the Christ will be 2 movies now, so we'll have a trilogy. Not just a movie, but a trilogy. As one YouTuber says.
I mean, didn't Jim say it took him years and years to recover from filming the first one?
Yeah. I think he had
It's
a
crazy enough to come
Didn't
back
he die
and do it
like
again?
twice during the making of the movie?
Yeah,
He's like he just
apparently, yeah.
resurrected himself. Like, yeah. So I think he had like exhaustion, or he died of like cardiac arrest at some point, or something, or like nearly died of cardiac arrest for being on the cross too long. And then another time he got struck by lightning when he was on the cross.
Oh yeah, I heard about.
So like
that.
I said, I wasn't
Scary.
joking when I said I think he actually died twice making this movie. Like,
That's scary, man. I heard about that. I was like, holy.
Jesus is like, I got your back. Don't worry.
Seriously, that's not serious. That's seriously scary stuff, man. That's not stuff to mess with.
See, I'm trying to find the story here. I know it came out earlier today. You're right, and I can't find it. Here it is. Okay.
I saw it on the feed. I didn't actually.
Yeah, it
save
was
the
on
link,
there, and then
yeah.
I can't find it now. I was like gone. I'm like, where the fuck did it go? Here's the variety version of it. So yeah, looks like it's going to be set into 2 parts, and for a 2027 release, part 1 and part 2. Look for Good Friday, March 26th, while part 2 is set for 40 days later on Ascension Day. Aha! I see what he did there. On May 6th, Lionsgate will release both of the films in theaters. The original films were released by Fox, if I remember right, which is owned by Disney now. So yeah. So there you go, kids.
So is this
Passion of
a
Christ.
thing that might start to happen now with the Beatles movies too? It's like, let's release multi-part movies in theaters several weeks apart from.
I mean, if you're going to do the stuff what they're doing with streaming, you might as well and at least take a chance at making some money.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
I mean,
Because really, some of these streaming shows aren't nothing more than just a movie that's being split up, right? So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, true. Absolutely.
no, the only thing that came to mind for me is like, you know what? I didn't hate the Naked Gun, but do I want to like? We were talking about this a little bit in the back, but like, do I want to drive through downtown to the local movie theater, find parking, pay for parking, spend $20 to see the Naked Gun movie in the theaters, and then like deal with all that crap come back through rush hour? I'm glad that movie was 75, 85 minutes. But I mean, I didn't want it to be 3 hours, but it's like, you've talked about this before. I kind of agree with having some kind of price variation on these movies, you know?
Well, the bonus of, cause like, I only paid like 11, I think it was, to see Naked Gun. So, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, most of it's not in a PLF. It's not 3D. Although I think they should have done like a 3D version of this, just with like a bunch of thrown in like random 3D jokes just to be goofy. But that being said, no, like, so like most people, I think, were able to see it in a smaller capacity theater or whatever you want to call it, to where, like, I mean, I'm wondering if most people even had sold out screenings for the movie. Even though it did well, it just didn't do like gangbusters. But again, I think that's kind of what hurt that film's perception, was more so like, this is something we'd watch on streaming, not see in theaters, right? So I see your point, right? Like, I definitely see that point. I think it's going to do gangbusters on streaming, actually.
I bring it up because I'm just wondering what the solution here is. I mean, on the one hand, Naked Gun, right? I don't want to spend $20 on that ticket. I might spend 10 if it's easy to get to the theater.
See it on Tuesday night.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, at the same, but then if you're gonna get into this mode where you're gonna like release multi-part movies back to back like this, 40 days apart, and this is a movie theater movie. I'll give you that in comparison, right? But if I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go through that whole like effort. For me, it's a little more effort maybe than some other people. For me, it's an effort to get to the theater here because it's like downtown.
No, I understand.
And then I'm going to go see part 2 40 days later. If I'm invested, that's great. But I want to pay $40 now to see both parts, you know, and go through all that effort twice. So I mean, I don't know what the solution is to that.
Your living situation. If I'm gonna be, I mean, I'm surrounded by theaters. I have it easy. I'm surrounded by 6 theaters within 45-minute driving radius. My whole thing is, does the movie look good? And
no,
then I
but
make a
Nick, I
decision from
understand
there.
where CC's coming from because I live in Bumfuckistan, which is basically like little Canada. And like, yeah, everything's so spaced out. Like, I have to drive unless I'm fortunate enough that something comes to our little shitbox theater in town here, then I have to drive an hour and a half. And even then, when it comes to the shitbox, I still have to wait till Friday, right? Like, they don't do Thursday screenings. So if I want to go see something and do a stream on it at the same time as everybody else or get left in the dust, it's up to me. So that's why I got to go out of my way to go see Fantastic Four or Superman or Beetlejuice, what have you. In this case, like, I think the solution for this, and I think AMC's and other ones probably will do something like this, they'll probably do a double ticket thing where you pay for both movies at the same time. And I did this recently. I'm trying to remember what the hell it was. But I'm trying to remember, they did an event where they had like a new movie and they were showing like an old version of it. And then you paid for both movies at the same time. And I can't remember what it was. And maybe it was the other Angel Studios thing, the Last Supper thing. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Because I think they split that up into like 3 parts or some shit like that too. And that was the other point I was going to get to, is I think that this does have potential. And I know some people are probably laughing at this whole idea, but it's like, look at how well those Angel Studios features have been doing. Like, and this is the kind of movie that my theater will get opening weekend, right? Because they always get the Angel Studios type movies, because they always get like the family religious stuff.
I think you might be onto something here, because he's obviously going to film this all at once, right? The way they they've done that in the past.
As far as I know, they're either done or in the
Lord of
midst
the Rings
of it,
trilogy, for example, was all filmed together, right? Back to the Future 2 and 3 were filmed under the same production, which surprises me given how different.
I mean, the Marvel movies
but
have mostly been filmed so close together; they were almost like one long production up to a point here. But yeah,
but I mean, if you take this movie and you take the production budget of it as one production and you split it into 2, and you're not going to make the customer feel cheated by having them be like 70 minutes long, but like 2 halves of one production, and then you sell. Then instead of selling the $20 ticket, you sell $30 for both parts. Like you said, you can, it's good for both. And then you have that increased, per person ticket coming into a single production budget for 2 movies. And if you can even, I mean, the trick is you have to keep that first movie in the theaters for people who didn't see it, but need to see it before they see the second one. I don't know how you solve that exactly. With people are movies are obviously competing for screens, but in theory, you can take a production budget, increase the ticket price, and maybe make it look like it's actually maybe be more profitable by having people come in that way. If I'm making any sense right now saying that.
kind of, yeah, and that's where I said I wonder if they'll just do a double ticket like at some places and stuff like that, possibly. So we'll see. At least it's not like Horizon, where even though Horizon 2 is done, it's like they're holding it hostage at the moment and won't let us see it. So we'll see here what happens with this. But yeah, no. Nick, anything to add to this or subtract to this? I know this is a bit out of your domain as far as movies go, but I think you had to step away anyway to handle dinner. So with that, let's see what you guys are saying out there. We got Valentine Puppy who says, new news, Warner Brother wants to reboot Babylon 5 with no JMS, J. Michael Straczynski. I'm not surprised as far as without him. I don't know on that part. I don't know enough about it. So I can't comment on it, but I'm not surprised that if there is any kind of popularity still in the franchise, that Warner Brothers would definitely be interested in it.
I know if Bobby were here, he would not be happy about a Babylon 5 without JMS.
I mean, JMS wanted to do it himself, didn't he? So why is he not involved now?
That I can't, like I said, I don't know enough about it right now to comment. So yeah.
Now I want to look into that because he was talking about doing it himself. So if he wanted to do it and he's not a part of it, dead on arrival.
On the Warner Brothers side of things, I do know they're very interested in pursuing any of their franchises that are lucrative. So didn't they just recently do like a Blu-ray release or something like that of Babylon 5? For some reason, it's sticking in my head. So either that sold well or something like that to where That's probably the reasoning behind it. But as far as him working with them or not, I have no idea, and I'd have to look into that more. I have no idea.
Yeah, like I said, the last I read into that situation is he wanted to redo the series because he felt that he hadn't done it the way he wanted to do it the first time.
Yeah,
which I can understand. I've watched it, and I can understand where he's coming from there. So if they're gonna do it and he's not involved, I want to know what happened there.
Yeah.
And if the person who created it wanted to be involved and he's not, well, then that's an automatic no for me. Like,
Yeah. Well, like I was to say, maybe he will eventually, that, or maybe they did talk to him and there was just some kind of impasse. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. So until I do, I can't comment any farther than that. I would just say I'm not surprised if it's still popular in some way that they are looking at pursuing it. ActionCom says, who's ready for Freakier Friday? Can Lindsay Lohan steal back her crown from Rachel Ziegler? Well, that's a good question. I've been seeing a ton of advertising for it. I have a weird feeling Freakier Friday is going to do a lot better than any of us probably expect, but it doesn't matter because it's not because of us.
To do well.
I think the women are going to show up. I think some of the Barbie crowd's going to show up for this movie. Yes. Yeah.
This movie will do okay. Yeah.
I think it will. It might even take the weekend. See, and here's where Disney is like its worst enemy, right? Once again, they'll end up dropping a movie that will end up hurting Fantastic Four. Well, it really won't if you think about it, but just perceptively, it will hurt Fantastic Four at the box office. But the reason I say perceptively is because women and families aren't going to see Fantastic Four anyway, right? Like that's why it's suffering right now and hurting. And a lot of those families and women, I think, are going to show up in droves to see Freakier Friday. I have a weird feeling. And I think this is where Disney's going to kick itself in the ass for not putting Hocus Pocus 2 in theaters, regardless of whether or not the movie was any good. Because I guarantee you opening night, a bunch of women would have shown up dressed like those girls.
Oh,
the
you
witches.
know it. They don't look at these conversations the same. Most of them don't look at them the same way that we do. They just see it as, oh, hey, look, movie coming out. It looks like it's geared towards us. All right, let's get the girls together. Oh, yeah, they're so much more simpler about that thing for better and worse. And yeah, I have a feeling, Tom, you're right. I have a feeling like somewhere there, they have a target audience and they might be responding to it. I think there's definitely a good chance for it, even though my intentions are absolute zero. But I'm irrelevant because I'm not the target audience.
You know what?
So whatever.
And I might even make the argument that I think the remake of Freaky Friday might be one of those few remakes that's even more popular than the original ever was. Because like nobody remembers the original. Like
I remember it being a remake.
Nerds do.
I knew that. Yeah.
But yeah. And I mean, like, I think they even did a TV sequel at some point with Haley Mills, if I remember right. But like nobody remembers the Haley Mills version when it comes to this. They always remember the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis one. Because it was a big movie when it came out, so. I don't know if it'll be her comeback, but it could be. It could signal at least a chance for her to make a comeback. I think it's going to do well at the box office. Now, I don't want to oversell it, right? Like, I don't want to everybody think, oh, it's going to do like $100 million at the box office. No, I think it might squeak into first place with like $40-50 million. And that's going to push Fantastic Four out of the top spot. It's going to push, and it would even be sadder for Fantastic Four. Now, don't say that I'm saying this is going to happen, but it could. There's a world of possibility where this happens, yes. Where Superman actually takes over Fantastic Four and it drops down another spot. Because here's the other thing. Jurassic World just dropped yesterday or today, actually, technically.
Superman's officially outgrossed domestically or tied with it right now.
And who knows what this weekend's what's gonna happen this weekend. I'm curious to see what today's numbers are going to turn out to be, because today's an interesting day. It's the most important day besides the weekend for theaters. Because if you guys remember, this is the day that the Discount Tuesday when Superman made an additional $17 million during the middle of the week. And then in turn, Fantastic Four did like $5 million less. And that's when people started seeing, oh shit, something's happening here. And Fantastic Four is falling off a cliff. But I don't think Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are going to have that problem. Because even if people in our sphere don't really care for the film or anything like that, if anybody does go see it, the people that are going to see that movie aren't listening to us. Okay, so like,
Oh
this
God,
movie-
no.
yeah, so
Yeah,
they
they
don't
ain't
care.
listening to us, and that's fine. They don't need to. There is a whole other audience, and guys like us have always said if there's an audience that responds to something, even if we hate it, at least we can understand why they lean into it. That's why it's so much weirder, more questionable when stuff like the Carol Danvers led Captain Marvel continued to get pushed because it kept failing as hard as it did. I'm not just speaking of comics, I'm talking about like the Marvels movie as well. Like all these properties were flop after flop after flop, and yet they kept pushing with it. I've never seen Barbie, and to me it looks like crap, but it did well, and it's hard for me to argue with results like that. That hey, I may think it looks like crap, but I'm irrelevant because a market responded, and it seems like for the most part, they responded very overwhelmingly in favor of the movie. Always hard to argue when there's a market there, and unlike the MCU, there is no market. That's why it's puzzling with the MCU and all the other things that they try to gender bend.
I think that's the right point here. With the Marvels, they were trying to make a movie that appeals to women. With Barbie, you actually just had a movie that appeals to women.
Yep, and I think this is the same thing. Yeah.
Freakier Friday is going to be the same thing. And anybody who's listening who maybe has a lady friend or 2 or 5 or 10 or anybody who knows a woman in their life, see if they're interested in Freakier Friday. They're probably going to have some interest in it. They'll probably be like, oh, yeah, I want to see that movie. You know, it's that
if
might
they don't
not be
already
any of
have
us on the
plans to
panel.
go see it with their girlfriends. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not suggesting it's going to do $1 billion, but I would expect this movie to do well out of the gate and have legs and just kind of be a success. Unless it's just so god awful that it's like all-time bad and that's the word of mouth. But I mean, it's probably going to be at the very least entertaining enough. You know, it's probably at the very least going to be a 6 out of 10, which is probably all it needs to be. If it's better, great. But it really probably only needs to be like a 6 out of 10 to just have people go and have a good time with it.
At least what we perceive to be a 6 out of 10, because once again, movies like that, they might see it as an 8, 9, or 10, because remember, for them, they rate 9s and 10s a lot more loosely than we do. So that's again why we're clearly not the direct appropriate market for that type of thing, because of, once again, this type of property. And that's fine. You can have a place where that exists on this planet. I don't think anyone in the sphere, whether right, left, Christian, agnostic, whatever, gay, straight, I think we've been in unison that, yes, you can have female-led movies that cater to women. Every now and then, sometimes they cross over, but that's, once again, a lot rarer. But it's never the expectation, no matter how much Hollywood wanted to wish it into existence. It's okay to have movies for women.
Yeah. Well, this is a similar crowd as Beetlejuice, I think, too.
Do you think so? Huh, okay.
Yeah, because I think a lot of women was what helped make that popular. I'm not going to deny that. I'd have to see the demographics to be sure, but I think that's probably the case. Yes.
Beetlejuice, yeah. In terms of women demographic, absolutely. You kidding me?
I think so. Yep.
My ex at the time wanted to see it more than I did. Don't get me wrong. I was curious to see it, but she was more into it than I was.
Action Comment has a couple more super chats. He says, could Jim Cavisel also play Nick in a movie? Yes.
Hold on a second. Jim, if you're out there, I will gladly take a payday and a half. Even if you got 50% of me right and 50% of me wrong. Just for that payday. I like you. I think you're cool. I think you were a cool villain too, and I think Escape Plan as well. I like you, Jim. Let's call. Let's talk. Let's have a chat. I would love to see a movie about me played by Jim Cavisel. Let's freaking go. And along came the silence. And there was an Action Com super chat. I'll read the others then. There was Action Com for $5 says, how many psycho Hollywood ladies have we had over the years? Courtney Love was patient zero. Who would you give that crown to now? Oh God, Rachel the bitch Zegler for sure. She's the queen now. She's the new generation of bitchness. I mean, if it wasn't for her,
Psycho.
I would have said, oh, true. Well, I don't know this.
I would go more along the lines of like
Amber Heard.
What's her Amber Heard? Yeah,
yeah.
And
I forget the difference that there is variation.
And even before Courtney Love, I don't know if she's patient zero. I'd say Mommy Dearest. What's her face? She was probably patient.
Who? Who?
Oh, shit. Joan Crawford.
Oh,
yeah, from the Mommy Dearest story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way,
Blake Lively's working on it. That's for sure.
Oh, she's trying to compete. She's like, I can't let Amber Heard take the throne. I can't let that be number. I gotta be number one. I gotta be. Then Amber Heard's gonna take offense when her throne's eclipsed. She's like, great. Now I gotta create a bigger turd on the bed just to calling black my number one throne. I gotta create a bigger number two so I can get to a bigger number one.
Yeah. Did you hear that Weapons movie almost made the mistake of having Pedro Pascal in it, but then the strikes might have saved that, evidently?
Wow.
Because according to the I think it's the writer or the director says, I had a whole different cast for this movie, and then when we had a strike, and then Pedro Pascal's schedule threw us into turmoil. This is what happens, right? The strikes delayed us, and then when you get delayed, people's schedules got conflicts, and then you're back at square one. Zach Kreger, the director, said that. Yeah. Oh, well. Good for him. He's probably... You know what, Zach? I know you're kind of saying it to be political or however you want to say it, but at the end of the day, your movie's way better off because of that, because it's actually got some buzz. And let me tell you, if it had Pedro Pascal, it would have a lot different kind of buzz going on right now.
I actually enjoyed Barbarian. I only saw it once, but I really enjoyed it. And the fact that we have a director who's selling me on the movie and it being a current day horror movie, I'm in for that, man. So I'm
that
ready.
That might be the sleeper hit because a lot of people are talking about it. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But anyhow, thank you so much, guys, for that. I think we're going to wrap things up here. Nick, you think you're bringing back Toxic Tuesday tonight? Are you not?
Next week.
Next week.
1 week from tonight, we're going to be doing 3 weeks of Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson.
You know, we got The Mechanic. We got Death Wish 4. But next week, we're starting with Mr. Majestic. So, but that said, though, until Toxic Tuesday starts, there'll be a video out tomorrow morning on the Bonded by Metal channel on the concept. It's going to be a hot button. It is what is selling out. I know that term gets used a lot. Sorry. That term gets thrown around very loosely, the same way terms like isphobes and ism get thrown around. So I can't wait to define on what actually is selling out and who are the bands that actually did do it. So please, sub to Bonded by Metal, sub to my main channel, and I hope to see you guys at one or the other or both. Thanks for having me. It's a fun show to be a part of. I'm pleasured.
Awesome. And I thought you meant Majestic with Jim Carrey. That's a totally different movie.
No.
I like that movie.
I know, I'm just kidding. I actually don't think I have. Maybe I do. I have to look. I might have that Charles Bronson one. CC, what you got going on? I know you got your channels you're working on always.
Yeah, besides that, no, I'm about 150 episodes into One Piece, so only 1,000 episodes left to catch up. Working my way through that. And I am doing a replay of LA Noir. So just, I haven't found any, I've been disappointed in games the last couple of years. Games that I was hoping to be good. And so I keep finding myself going back to old games,
Trust me,
I needed something that I knew was going to be good. So I'm playing that and I'm watching One Piece. That's what I'm up to.
There you go. All right. Well, maybe you should do some streaming on that or something. Who knows?
I've thought about it.
Yeah. With that, let's wrap things up. Take care of yourselves and each other. See you on the flip side, or the morning show tomorrow, I should say. And peace.
Cute kitty.